Good evening. Happy Thursday. Merry Christmas, Merry late Christmas, Happy New Year, and welcome back to the Man Cave. It's that time of week again. Let's see. We got Jeff. Jeff is in his mountain retreat this weekend, and Tanya. Tanya's hanging out upstairs running the show. So I hope everybody had a good Christmas. Hank, glad you could make it with us. Beth, glad you could make it with us. It's been a fun week. Mike, I had a rough weekend at work. I had to work Christmas Day because that's one of the holidays I chose to work this year. But I had an extra long weekend of work because of it. I had 4 days of work instead of three, so it took me Tuesday pretty much to shake that off. And Wednesday, I wasn't very motivated to do a whole lot of cooking this week. So Tanya and I did some stuff, and Tanya's not been feeling well today. But Tanya, I'm glad you're with us anyway. So, Jeff, you having a drink with us tonight?
Oh, yeah.
What'd you take with you?
No, I didn't take. I picked it up a little.
There you
Jack.
go. I'm going to hit this Larceny barrel proof again. Brewster, glad you could make it with us. Russ and Brian are back in here also. I've got a brand new whiskey glass, courtesy of my wife. Kind of hard to see there, but it's got my initial monogram on it. It's a little larger glass than I'm normally drinking out of, so it doesn't look like I've got as much in there because the glass is bigger. So, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Tanya, you having a drink tonight?
Nope.
Taking it easy, are you?
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord.
What's the matter, Jeff? Did he
Oh, poor Jeff.
get too much?
No, I guess I've been drinking too much Heaven Hill.
Oh, I stopped by the liquor store this evening just to run in there and see if they had anything I couldn't do without. And it looks like, I'm proud to say that Heaven Hill looks like it's going to be a staple, permanently available for me now. So it's in there.
Wish I could have some of that today, because
Yeah. So
it's out on my list.
I've got some Jack. I don't have any of that Jack Daniels. The only Jack Daniels I have at the moment is the bottled in bond black label and the single barrel proof. I've been working on taming that single barrel proof, and I'm about there. I finally think I've opened up what's behind the alcohol in that bottle, and it's pretty intense. So there will be more to come about that one later. It's a really good bottle. It's got some really incredible complexity to it. Once you can get past 130 proof or whatever it is, it's pretty intense. Jack says Heaven Hill's available. Jack, that 7-year-old bottled in bond is my new favorite sub $50 bottle. I can call it a sub $50 bottle because it's $49.95 on the shelf here. That's what my retail price on it is at my local shop. I know prices vary, but it's replaced Eagle Rare is my favorite sub $50 bottle. And plus, it's going to be easy to get. I haven't seen a bottle of Eagle Rare lately. I've got some Eagle Rare here, but it's that 1.75 liter bottle, and I think I'm just going to keep it on the shelf and not open it. You're down to one?
3.
Down to 3. Well, you were able to get a case of it, so Yeah, I haven't seen a bottle of Eagle Rare lately, but I haven't been out looking for it. Eagle Rare is one of the bottles I can find if I go on a quest and decide to go to 6 or 7 places looking. Uh, I can find it. it. It's not impossible to find. It's just it's not very common in my store. They've got some at my store, but it's on the weekly lottery list where you've got to sign up and get a call for it. And I'm tired of playing jumping through hoop games to get bourbon. So they're having a lottery down there Saturday morning that I can't go to either. So uh, I have to sleep on Saturday mornings these days. But anyway, we'll have the
Sleep.
larceny. The one thing about the larceny barrel proof, out of all the barrel proof stuff that I have and have had, the larceny is what I call a sleeper because this bottle's a 124.4 proof, 62.2% alcohol. That's pretty stiff, but the alcohol doesn't make itself known so much in this particular bottle. It doesn't taste like a typical barrel proof in terms of alcohol burn or alcohol sting. It's very subtle, and it reminds me typically of something that's in the 100 proof range in terms of the alcohol intensity of it, but it's really good. And that one apparently is becoming easier to get too because it's been in there every time I've been up there lately as well. And that and also the Elijah Craig barrel proof seems to be fairly readily available. So I've got a couple of pretzels on hand, some spicy brown mustard, and a little bit of cheddar cheese to roll with tonight. So
Well, I guess, John, I've become a bourbon snob because
yeah.
this really just doesn't taste right.
Well, Jack Daniel's Old Number Seven's not bad. You know, it's a staple.
Just
I still think you need to try. I still think you need to try the Gentleman Jack.
I look for it tonight. They didn't have it in any small bottles. The only thing they have in the small bottles is the Jack Number 7 and the Fire.
Right.
In the small bottle.
You might like the Gentleman Jack, and I don't want to persuade you one way or the other, but if you can ever get your hands on a bottle of the old number or the number 27 gold, it's pricey, but I swear I think it's the smoothest whiskey I've ever had. And I've bought one bottle of it, and I won't buy another one simply because of the price. It's $100 bottle, but it is very good. It's one of those ones I think everybody needs to try once. So, all right, Tanya, we will bring you back in a bit. See, Anurag popped in here.
Yep.
He's having the toasted barrel. I've got some of that back here. In fact, they had that again up there tonight, which surprises me because that toasted barrel is this is the first year I've seen it available to me, and they had it up there again tonight. So I don't know. Maybe some of these distilleries have started to work better with North Carolina. I don't know.
When I first saw his comment, EC, I thought he was referring to East Coast, not Elijah.
No, that's the Elijah Craig. It's Elijah Craig, the regular baseline Elijah Craig was the second. It was the first bourbon I bought when I was learning, when I took on this task of learning to taste bourbon. I started out with the Jack Daniel's Old Number 7. But the first bourbon I bought after talking to people, they said, get the Elijah Craig. They said it's one that they felt was underrated at its price point. So that's the first bottle of bourbon I bought. And I like it. I just think I like a lot of other ones that are at its price point a little better, I think. The toasted barrel has a unique flavor to it, but I don't know if I'll buy it again. I'm not a real fan of it at its price, but it's good. It's all good. So anyway, let's talk about cooking.
Cool.
Let's see here. Jeff did us a prime rib this week. Tell us
Yep.
about it.
Well, that's one of the ones I got from Publix.
Yep.
Pound, and I picked up two really nice looking ones. And this one here, I just put Himalayan Sherpa on it on Sunday night, and then Monday threw it on the bark. Let the bark go to 450. Let it sit there for probably a good 30, 45 minutes after it reached 450. So it really got heat soaked.
Yep.
Threw that guy in, let her go for 30 minutes. And then I dropped the temperature down to 250 and left the door open for probably 20 minutes.
Right.
It settled right in, right at 250, and then it went another 2.5 hours, and it came out nice. Next picture shows it on the grill when I first put it on there.
Right.
Oh, wait, I take that back. That shows it after the 30 minutes. Excuse me.
Yep.
And then next picture, it's done.
Is this the done picture?
Let it rest for about 20 minutes and cut that puppy up.
Yep.
And
I like that method. I like that method as well. I'm not a fan of I don't do the reverse sear on the prime rib. I know reverse sear is all the rage. It's kind of the what's the term I'm looking for here? It's the
fad.
Well, I don't want to call it so much a fad. It's a legitimate technique, but the way I like to do mine, I'm not as happy with it reverse seared because I'm going to put things on there that scorch. And the method that you just described is what I've typically been doing. And one of the things I've been doing, and you should try this too, since you've got multiple grills, is have one grill running at 500 degrees and or do that sear portion, that hot portion on your Joe, and then move it over to the bark to finish it off. That will keep the delay of that time down. But one of the things I've been doing, the only thing I'm doing differently from what you did there is after I take it off that 500 degree part of the 450 or whatever, I smear my herbed butter over the top of it, and then put it in the 250 degree oven and let that go until it's done. And that works out pretty well. And I don't, at that stage, I don't have to worry about one of the very basic things I've been doing is I've been softening my butter on the countertop just overnight. I'll leave it out there and let it get good and soft. And on a prime rib, how big was yours? How much did that one weigh?
Let's see. It was a 3-bone. It was 42, so just under 7 pounds.
Yes, I'd put at least 2 sticks of butter, maybe even 3. And for each stick of butter, I'd put a tablespoon of Italian seasoning blend in it. And I might put some extra very coarsely cracked black pepper on that and smear it on there. And it just let it do its thing. It builds a really nice flavor on the outside. And I don't add any additional salt at that point because, like you said, that Himalayan Sherpa is salty. That's a salt, pepper, garlic blend.
Yep.
It's a really good one too. So it's doing good. Jeff, I think I've picked up something here you're going to need to try. Speaking of that salt, pepper, garlic, these 2 bottles that I picked up from Lane's recently, this guys stuff. That AP rub, that AP blend there is basically a salt, pepper, garlic blend that's got powdered butter in it. I'm impressed with that one.
I'm going this week. I'll pick up one, see what it's like.
Yeah, the barbecue rub version, I don't know if I'm not as impressed with that one. It's good, but I need to use it a little bit more before I'm ready to talk about that one. That one is tangy. It's a really I'm not going to call it hot. it's just a flavor forward rub. It's I guess you need to try it, but the
I
all
like
purpose,
black garlic, all-purpose black garlic. It's just salt,
yeah,
pepper, black
right.
garlic.
Hmm.
I did that on the last rib roast that I had, but I didn't have enough to do this one, so I just did the Himalayan Sherpa. But that stuff is really freaking good.
Let me grab these bottles right quick, and I'll show them to you guys. It's they are something new from Lane's. I'm not as up on these as some of the other folks around here might be, but this is what I'm talking about. This is a this is an all-purpose rub, and it's this
Is that the one that was made in cooperation with the Alabama guy?
the Bama Grill Master.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a note on the back that's got the at Bama Grill Master. So that's the guy that uses this term "I guys" every time he starts a video or whatever. That's where that comes from. But this this AP rub is something else. The it's salt forward, MSG forward, and that's one of the reasons this one intrigued me, because MSG is the second ingredient on the list. So that that definitely piqued my interest in. I like this. I like this a lot, and in fact, I'm hacking it. I'm making my own version of it. I'm working on it. And then there's this Bama's Smoky Sweet Rub that's also MSG forward. But these two rubs, guys, as you know, I'm making my own rubs mostly. I don't buy a lot of commercial rubs anymore, but I encourage you guys to try these. They're unique in a world where there's not that many unique rubs anymore. So give those a shot. Anyway, let's get back to Jeff's prime rib. You served that with some green peas, and is that a cauliflower mash?
No, that's real mash this time.
Real mashed potatoes?
Real mashed potatoes.
Oh boy, Jeff splurged.
Jeff Sparge. Yep.
Yeah.
January 1, we start back on hard and heavy on keto.
Has that got some garlic in it?
Yes, it's actually it's the pre-made mashed potatoes.
Right.
The garlic and herb ones.
Mm-hmm.
And they're good. So.
It looks good. So with your leftovers here.
Yeah, leftovers, put them on the griddle in the house just because I didn't need the big griddle outside, so I decided to do it in the house.
Yep.
Then I sliced the leftover prime rib, put some onions and peppers in there, let it all meld together real nice. And then this is something you may want to try. Go to the next picture here.
Yeah, tell me about it.
This is that lavash bread.
Okay.
It comes in sheets that are, oh gosh, I'm going to say 16 inches long by 12 inches wide, I guess, or
Right.
10 inches wide. And you cut them in half. And it's only 8 carbs, which is terrible. It's not 100% good. Yeah. But if you take and put a little butter down on your griddle and throw that down, let it heat up good, that's an outstanding wrap there.
Looks good. So that's just a wrap with some leftover mashed potatoes?
Yeah, leftover taters.
Yeah. Looks good. Heck yeah. So how was Christmas for the family?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it's always great watching the little ones, open up stuff. Mm-hmm. Or I should say the little one. The grandson is 20.
Yeah. God, how's he doing? How's school going for him?
He's on the dean's list. He's halfway through his second year. So
yeah. Well, you tell Alex I said hello. I haven't seen him in a while. So
yep, he's doing good. He's being a math tutor over at the high school.
Yep.
Making a little extra money there. So
it's awesome. Fantastic. So I'm still munching on my pretzels.
Cool.
Let's go see what Johnny did this week. Let me find my pictures. Oh, here we go. I just have to show off these beautiful glasses that my wife bought me. I finally found a place. This is something I've been looking for a long time. When I was a kid, when we would drive to the beach in the summer, we would go through this place called Waccamaw. And there's this Waccamaw pottery outlet that my mom used to love to stop at. And we stopped there one year, and I don't know, I'm 8 or 9 years old maybe. There's a guy in there with a stone engraving wheel engraving the big pint beer mugs that have the handle on the side, the big heavy ones, you know, Jeff. And
Yeah.
I had one of those with my initials engraved on it for many years, and I'm not really sure at this point what happened to it or where I lost it. But
Still up.
I kept telling myself I'd really like to have some whiskey glasses that are stone engraved like that. And I looked and never could find any, and I finally found a place, and I was telling Tanya about it, and she ordered me some for Christmas. And they're really beautiful. They're not, I don't know. It's hard to tell the difference if you can't feel it between the ones that are either they're liquid etched. You know that liquid etching process, Jeff.
Yeah.
It kind of frosts the glass. It doesn't really etch it or engrave it. But this is a deep engraving. You can tell these are done by hand. I don't know how they do it and get those letters so perfect like they do, but it's really impressive. And I like this pair, and I'm gonna down the road at some point I'm gonna get another set with a different style of their glasses and have two sets of these. But I now finally have some personalized whiskey glasses, and that just makes me happy. So
The little things in life.
yeah, it is, man. It doesn't take a whole lot to impress me, but those are amazing, and it's something I've been wanting to have for a long time. And Tanya nailed it. She got me those for Christmas. So yeah, uh, it happens to the best of us. Yesterday, or was it yesterday? I did this. I guess it was. Yeah, it was yesterday. I bought this turkey last week at Food Line. They had a butterball, and which is not what I consider to be a junker turkey in the world of Thanksgiving turkeys. The butterball turkeys are a little bit better, but they had a cooler full of them at Food Line for 39 cents a pound. So last week, I guess it was Thursday or Friday, I yanked a 14 pounder out of there and brought it home and tossed it in the refrigerator, and I wanted to cook it this week because my mom likes turkey breast, and I mainly wanted to harvest that for my mom, and I'm just gonna use the rest of the meat for something else. But I broke this guy down into pieces before I cooked it. I got the two breast halves there, and the breast halves are off the bone in this picture. Everything else is still on the bone. The breasts on the left, the thighs, the legs, and then the wings. And I left the breasts whole, and I vacuum sealed those, and I'll be taking those to my mom. But I pulled all the rest of the meat off the bone, and I'm going to use it for. I might just make something like a turkey pot pie, Jeff, or something like that, because I haven't
That'd
done
be good.
any. Yeah, I haven't done anything like that in a while, and it's all dark meat there for the turkey pot pie. It'll be good, and I'll chop it up a little finer than what it is at the moment and make something with it.
So, question: did that require any stitches, or was it just a shallow?
No, it's the cut's not as long as it looks in that picture either. That is just showing that whole crease in my thumb. The cut is only about maybe a quarter of an inch long. I let my knife get away from me when I was breaking that turkey down. And,
No, you let your thumb get in the way.
well, yeah, maybe I let my thumb get in the way. But I was trying to break down a turkey with a knife, which is not really the best idea. And we were having this conversation in our little chat group yesterday. I think I'm probably going to get myself another pair of poultry shears because I don't know. At some point in the past, I had poultry shears and I just didn't like using them. And I'm not really breaking down that many turkeys. I'm breaking down chickens, and a chicken's really easy to break down with a chef's knife. You know, it's no problem to to pop a chicken like that into 8 pieces in about 30 seconds with a chef's knife. But the turkey's a little bit more work. And I had the wings off of it, and I had it stood up on its end, and I was going down through the backbone, and I just hit my thumb with it. I had my thumb in a bad position. So I stopped what I was doing. I cleaned it up, and then I put my cut-proof glove on my left hand and went right back to work with it. I have some cut-proof gloves because I have a mandolin, and we've had the mandolin conversation before. So, but anyway, I tossed that guy in at 350 in the Woodwind Pro with some hickory smoke and let that cook, and it did really well. It cooked very nicely, and I'm very happy with the results of that. This, if I had my way on Thanksgiving, if I was preparing a turkey on Thanksgiving, this is exactly how I would do it. I'd not be messing with spatchcock. I'd be breaking it down into 8 pieces and taking each individual piece off when it's ready.
But you can do that, John, and then just slice your breasts on your platter and arrange the pieces, and nobody will be the wiser.
Right. Well,
everybody
the
thinks
breast,
the turkey's got to be carved at the dining room table. No, it doesn't.
well, I like to cook my breast until the internal temperature hits about 150, and then I like to pull it off. But the rest of that stuff, I like to take it up to about 175 or 180 before I pull it off. And that's where I landed with that turkey. Today, I went ahead and tried to make my own version of my mom's mac and cheese. For those of you that have seen my mac and cheese in the past, most of the mac and cheese recipes, if not all the mac and cheese recipes that I've done, usually start out with a roux, a bechamel, and then add cheese and macaroni to that, and then it goes in a pan, gets more cheese on top, and then goes on the grill or smoker. That's good mac and cheese, but it's not the mac and cheese I was raised on. My mom's mac and cheese does not have a roux. You basically cook the pasta and you mix it with, you take milk and egg and beat it together and season that a little bit with a little salt, pepper. And in my case today, I put a little cayenne in this, and we'll see that here in a minute. But it's a little different process. So I've got some extra sharp cheddar cheese here and some Colby Jack, and I just let the food processor tear that down for me. And I've got jumbo elbow macaroni, and Tanya tells me I'm a dinosaur on this jumbo elbow macaroni thing, this large elbow macaroni. I'd like to ask you guys, when you guys make macaroni and cheese, do you like the little macaroni noodles or do you like the big ones? Which do you prefer there? Because it's getting hard for me to find these larger ones. I think most people must prefer the smaller ones, and there must not be that much of a market for these big ones because I can't find them sometimes. Do you make mac and cheese, Jeff, from scratch?
I haven't in a long time.
Do you like the big ones or the little ones?
Like the little noodles.
So I must just be, I don't know, an oddball, but my mom always used the big ones. I guess it's because I was raised on it. So this is all the ingredients you see here are everything that goes in this macaroni and cheese except for the cheese, which I just showed you. I got a 16-ounce box of elbow macaroni, 2 cups of whole milk, 2 eggs, 1 stick of butter, and then some salt, pepper, and a little bit of cayenne pepper. So I cooked the pasta, and this pasta needs to be cooked short of al dente. Excuse me for this. So the package instructions on this pasta were 8 to 10 minutes. So I cooked it about 4.5 minutes in hot water. I put it in my colander, and then I ran cold water over it to stop it where it wouldn't continue cooking. And in my large mixing bowl, I cracked those 2 eggs. I dumped the 2 cups of milk in with that. I dump my seasoning in, and I've got a teaspoon and a half of salt here, probably, and probably a half to 3/4 of a teaspoon of fresh cracked black pepper, and probably a quarter of a teaspoon of cayenne is what's going in here. And then I just got my whisk and went to work on that and got that mixed up really well. I dumped in my cooked pasta. I dumped in 2 cups of that cheese. And one of the things I forgot to show here is that stick of butter, that half a stick of butter got melted, and I dumped that in here as well. And I didn't take a picture of that. So this mixture right here is not hot enough to melt that cheese. So you just have to just get it mixed up well. And then I dumped half of that into my 9x13 cast iron pan, which I buttered. I greased that pan with just butter before I started this. And here we added about a cup and a half or so of cheese on that layer, and then I dumped in the rest of that macaroni mixture on top of that, and then covered the top of that with even more cheese. There's a total of 24 ounces of cheese in this. I had two 8-ounce blocks of New York extra sharp cheddar and one 8-ounce block of Colby Jack. So we put 2 cups in with the macaroni, a cup and a half between the layers, and about another 2 cups or so on top. And I've got my Camp Chef preheated out here at 350 at this stage. And then I just put foil over the top of this and closed up the grill, and we went for 30 minutes at 350 because all we want to do at this point is get all that cheese melted and get everything heated up. And at the 30-minute mark, this is what it looks like. That cheese that was on top's nicely melted. Everything's nice and warm here. So I took the foil off, and then I ramped the temperature on the smoker up to about 425 to finish this guy off. And I went for another 20 or 25 minutes after I ramped up to 425, and I've got a nice golden brown top on this. I didn't have great light to shoot outside. This picture right here doesn't really make that brown top look very appealing, and it looks a little bit too dark here because it's in the sunlight. But here we have it back inside. You can see a little bit more about what we look like. One of the things I love about this macaroni and cheese process in this pan is it browns up around the edges, Jeff, kind of like a Detroit pizza.
Yeah.
I've got a really nice cheese crust on the outer edges of this and on the base. So that's one of the things that happens, I guess, when you cook this by this technique on the grill, is you're going to get a little bit of a crust. It's not hard. It's not inedible. It's got a really good flavor to it. So it's one of those things. Some people may like it. Some people may not. If you don't think you'd like that, there would be an alternative method for cooking this. When you get to the point where it's been in there at 350 for a half an hour, when you take that foil off, you could put it under a broiler for I don't know, 5 to 7 minutes to brown up the top of that, and it would brown that up quicker on top, and it wouldn't make the brown edges if you don't want the brown edges. But I had a dose of this for lunch today, and it's flavor wise, flavor and texture wise both. It's very similar. Oh, also when this comes off, it needs to sit for 10 or 15 minutes. It firms up and you can cut this into nice blocks. If I had taken a knife instead of that big spoon to do this, you can cut this into nicely shaped blocks, and it's very good. But it needs to sit for 10 or 15 minutes before you do that after it comes out of the oven. And taste wise, this is very, very similar to my mom's macaroni. My mom never put cayenne pepper in hers, so that part of it's not there. I would probably like to do this again. My mom's technique is different from this. My mom would layer the macaroni. She used a Jeff, she had a Corningware pan that was a squarish pan. It was like maybe a 9 by 9, but it was like 4 inches deep. Are you
Hmm.
familiar with that shape and that type of pan?
Yep.
And
Have one
it had a glass lid on it.
with the nice little blue pattern on
Yeah,
the side.
exactly. And
Yep.
mom's was deeper and not as spread out as this. She would have like 4 layers, and mom made hers with not Colby Jack, but Colby, just the plain Colby cheese. And she would slice it and lay it in there on top of the cooked macaroni, and then put pats of butter on it and layer that out like that, and then pour the milk in, uh, the milk and egg mixture in on top of it after it was all done, and then throw it in the oven just like I did. First part of it's going to be with the lid on, and then she'd take the lid off and let it brown up on top. But this is I'm going to play with this some more because I like this, and this is probably something I'm going to remake in the loaf pans, Jeff. I'm going to use those cast iron loaf pans and do the deeper version of this maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if you grease it up good enough, you'd be able to turn that thing over and have it fall right out. Do nice little slices.
But this is really good. It's a different style of macaroni and cheese. And over the weekend, at some point, I'll post this on the Man Cave Meals Facebook page, and I'll post all the ingredients and the technique that I use so you can play with it or share it or try it out if you like. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways to make mac and cheese, and I've explored a lot of those in my own attempt to have great mac and cheese. But this brought back. This has been the first time I've had this in a while, and it just brings back the memories of mom making it because it's the same style of macaroni and cheese my mom used to make. And I was telling her I'm going to do it, and she wanted me to come down. She says, "Well, just come down and we'll make it, and I'll show you how I do mine." And I haven't done that yet. I had to try it myself first. So maybe before I do it again, I'll go to mom's and let mom school me on how to make it. So I grew up eating a macaroni and cheese very similar to that, but the 9 by 13 pan that I could have gotten deeper. I could have made a bigger recipe because that's only a little over halfway up the edge of that pan. So
Yeah, you
if
could
I
have done.
doubled if I doubled that recipe, I probably could have made a lot thicker. If I doubled it, it'd have boiled over. It'd have bubbled over in the grill, but that's okay too. When I took the foil off of that, I tossed a chunk of hickory in the smoker box on that smoker, and it's present in the flavor and aroma on that mac and cheese too. It's really good. So I don't know how many of you have seen mac and cheese made that technique before. It's uh it's not as common. Uh, let's see. I don't know. There's so many different ways to make mac and cheese. A lot of people simply make it, by cooking noodles and put Velveeta in it, and that's for me, mac and cheese is like pizza. Even if it's bad mac and cheese, it's still pretty good. There's none of it I won't eat. I'm not I'm not beyond Kraft macaroni and cheese dinners or the Velveeta shells and cheese either.
Well,
Not at all.
Kraft's formula over what it was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It is not the same.
Yep. Anthony said his mom made Kraft. Yep. I like that little cheese. I like to watch how that cheese turns orange when you put it in there. That cheese powder. I'll eat it.
Mac and cheese,
Absolutely.
19 cents a box.
It's not that cheap anymore. It's about
Yeah.
$1 a box now. Or I don't know what the Kraft costs. But I do know that there is a difference between the Kraft and the house brands. The Kraft is better than some of the house brand knockoffs. So that's the
Well,
end of my
like fun.
cooking for the say what?
That looked like fun.
Yeah. So I'm going to be having macaroni and cheese for dinner at 2 o'clock in the morning a couple nights this weekend.
I'll be thinking about you when I'm sound asleep.
hmm
Or I hope to be sound asleep.
So a couple of things here. First of all, Jeff, our next live stream will be the first of the month, and we need to do a head-to-head. So what do we want to do? I hadn't thought about it either till today.
Why don't we let it go another week?
Okay. All right. We'll do it the second week of the
Because
month.
I'm gone the majority of this week and next week.
Okay.
I won't be back in town, back at the house until Thursday. So
Well, that's fine.
let it go another week.
All right. So we'll postpone that a week. And
Because
we'll
the only
sort
cooking
out-
you might have to do for next week is marshmallows toasted with a Bic lighter.
That sounds good too. You need to get you. Oops. I just put that where I didn't mean to. Well, dadgummit. Jeff, you need one of these.
I got one of those.
You can toast marshmallows with this.
Yeah, I got one of those.
That's a multi-purpose lighter that I use for various things. And most of the things I use it for are not what it's intended to be used for.
The one I have, you can use to weld with too, or I shouldn't say weld, solder with.
Yeah. Well,
That's
I fully intended on doing creme brulee when I bought that, and I still haven't done that yet.
Well, that's why
Yeah.
a little one for is the creme brulee. That's his primary focus in life.
So, Brian, that's what we want to talk about, goals for next year. He's on a mission to get rid or use up stuff. Is that ingredients or stuff that's in your freezer? You want to
Or
empty out your
rubs, or
yeah. Or you want to empty out your leftover stash? I've got a carryover from last year that I've got to do. Last year when we had this conversation, learning to debone a chicken was high on my priority list, and I did not get that done this year. And so I've just added that to my list. I'm going to learn to debone chicken and do some of the stuffed chickens. So that's there. But I need to come up with some other goals that I want to do. And I've been thinking about it today. And every time I go to the grocery store anymore, I go to Sam's Club. One of the things that pisses me off is how expensive beef's gotten. It's crazy. I mean, Jeff, I looked at skirt steak last night and I looked at flank steak last night, and they were $11 and $12 a pound respectively. Those used to be $4 and $5 a pound cuts.
John, I remember when it was cheaper than that.
Yeah.
I mean, skirt steak, fajitas is what made skirt steak a thing, because prior to that, skirt steak, really wasn't used for anything other than trash.
Right.
It's just like, chicken wings, chicken wings, you used to get chicken wings almost for free.
Well, that being said, there's a couple of goals I want to shoot for this year. I want to see how many impressive things I can do with pork loin, because pork loin's still inexpensive. Pork loin is either $2 or $3 a pound, depending on where you buy it.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I can't remember when I was at Sam's last night. I don't remember if the pork loin I looked at was $1.98 a pound or if it was $2.98 a pound for the whole loin.
I think at Costco it was $1.98 a pound.
So it might be $2 a pound. So I'm going to get one, and we're going to do I want to do some stuff with chicken as well. I want to split it because I know Tanya Let me bring Tanya back up in here in a minute. Tanya was sneezing, so I was holding off. But I want to do. Tanya likes pork loin and pork tenderloin as well. Pork tenderloin's a little more expensive. It's about $4 a pound, but I want to do some stuff with less expensive meats. I've done all the expensive meat stuff. There's not really very many cuts of beef I haven't cooked, and most of them I've cooked multiple times. So I want to do a lot of things with pork loin and pork tenderloin. I want to do some. I want to try to do some interesting things with chicken, which is going to include some things with that deboned chicken. And I want to do more with seafood in the coming year. I want to do some stuff there. So breaded pork loin sandwiches. Yeah, Beth, are they pounded out? Or do they pound them out thin and flour them, egg wash, breadcrumbs like that? Is that what they're doing? Is that the kind of thing that they do? That's a thing here in the South. Yeah, so that's the pork chop sandwiches are fairly common. They're done that way, and they're very good. Yeah, Boater, the chops. I can get chops. Publix actually has some of the better looking bone-in pork chops I've seen, and I can go down there and get them cut however thick I want them, because once again, just like a steak, I like them thick. And Jeff, I like that bone-in pork chop cut that's like the bone-in prime rib that's got that rib piece on the edge of it. I like that more so than I like the T-bone style pork chops. And I've done pork chops a lot of different ways, but we're going to do some more things with that in the coming year. I'm hoping to do a lot of things with it. Pork steaks. Brewster, that's a good one. Let me add that on here and let me do that again too. Pork steaks. Yeah, because there are several. I can get that done at Publix as well. I can get that. I can have them slice that pork butt. I can buy the pork butt and have them slice it however thick I want it. And pork steaks, some people like them thick, some people like them thinner. So I've done them both ways, but I really like taking that pork steak and just going at it over direct fire and getting some char, getting it browned up and charred a bit on the outside. And when I've got that, I like to toss it in a pan with some salt, like with some barbecue sauce, and let it finish in that braising sauce till it's nice and tender. That's a good thing. And pork butt is still probably next to maybe pork loin. Pork butt is the cheapest. Well, when pork butt's on sale, it's the cheapest meat out there. When pork butts, if around here, when pork butt's not on sale, the places that sell pork butt, it's anywhere between $2.49 and $2.99 a pound.
Yep.
That's regular price, but I haven't paid regular price for a pork butt in a while. Now the butcher up the street here that's got the heritage pork, that's a $5 a pound butt. And I've decided for myself, when I'm cooking pulled pork that's going to be for me, I'm buying those. I'm going to buy that meat. I don't know if I've seen Chef's Italian pork chop. What refresh my memory on that, Jeff? What is that?
I haven't seen that one.
I probably have seen it. I just don't remember which one it is. Copycat recipes. Chick-fil-A chicken. Chicken and waffles. I'm going to get that done. I have a waffle iron, and it's a Belgian waffle iron that my lovely wife bought me quite a few years ago for Christmas. It's a KitchenAid, and they don't even make this anymore. So I will do chicken and waffles. Tanya, I'm going to have to try to recreate Miss Polly's chicken and waffles.
Yeah, for sure.
If I'm not mistaken, theirs were done with chicken tenderloin. They were, and I remember the guy, he wouldn't give me the recipe, but he told me the process. And those chicken pieces are marinated overnight in buttermilk and hot sauce. And then they're breaded and deep fried and served over waffles with a cayenne peppered maple syrup. So we'll get chicken and waffles on the agenda. What else do we need to do? One of the things I want to encourage all of you to do is at least pick one thing. Pick one thing that you want to become good at, and during the course of 2024 become good at that thing. And if you want to do multiple things, do that too, but find something and master it over the course of the year. Do it over and over again until you feel like you just don't think you could do it any better. That's one of the things like Jeff and I did with the bread stuff during the COVID.
Yep.
We mastered some bread techniques that we both wanted to do, and I think we spent 6 or 8 months doing 5 or 6, 7 different things.
We went through a bunch of bread.
Yeah. So that reminds me, Jeff, I saw a New York Times recipe the other day I need to share with you. It's a no yeast cinnamon roll.
Okay.
It's a quick dough that's baking soda, baking powder, and it looked pretty impressive. So it might be worth a shot just to see if it's any good or not.
You know, I'm like Mikey. I'll try anything once, twice if I like it.
So,
I say hard pressed to beat our cinnamon roll recipe. We got that thing.
right. Yeah. Boner bread is a bread. Bread's one of the more challenging cooking projects I've ever taken on. It's way more difficult than barbecue, but it's so satisfying when you get it right. It's
When you get it right.
You think you felt good the first time you nailed a brisket. Wait till you nail that loaf of sourdough. Wait till you slice into that thing and get that nice, big, beautiful open crumb. And you, when you take that sourdough out of the oven, you can hear it crackling inside. That's yeah. So yeah, it's the bread's something. I wish I could inspire more people to learn to cook bread. And I might do some more bread this year. Like I said, I've got a new grill that'll be here in the new year at some point, and I might be doing some bread on that grill too. So
let me give you a hint. I don't know if you do this. Besides your dough, mix 50% flour and 50% cornmeal. Or not cornmeal, excuse me.
Semolina.
Semolina flour. Thank you.
Yep.
Mix that and lightly coat your wood peel, and then pick it up with your regular peel, and that thing will slide right into the.
Yep.
Guaranteed.
I avoid cornmeal. Everybody says cornmeal, but I don't like it because it gets in there and it burns and it's bitter when it's on the bottom of your pizza.
The semolina is the way to go.
You can use 100% semolina flour for that. You don't have to mix it with regular flour. Just use semolina and getting the right kind, learning the peel. And when I'm on my work surface, when I'm shaping that pizza, I've got a pretty heavy dose of flour down there, way more than I need, and then I work it onto the peel. But this peel that I use, let me just show you this peel. This peel is perforated. This is one of those GI metal peels.
And that's the type of one, it's a perforated peel.
And when you get that guy up on there, you shake it back and forth, and it'll slide on this, and that excess flour will fall through these holes and won't be all over the bottom of your pizza. Because you don't excuse me, you don't want a bunch of flour on the bottom of your pizza that'll burn either. But the semolina flour is better about that. It's
Yep.
it's a better solution. So uh so I've got Jeff, what do you want to work on in the new year?
What I really want to work on, I can't work on. I'd like to go back to doing bread, but going back into keto, that's not going to work.
Well, you can do it occasionally.
The bread was, it had to be later in the year. The bread was very satisfying. Getting it,
What?
finally getting it to come. Because I told you when we started the bread thing, I used to destroy
Right.
bread. It was just something with my hands. I touch it and it just all got sticky tacky and I destroyed bread dough. And I
Right.
finally got over that. And it was very satisfying to, like I say, get those cinnamon rolls to come out good, get the ciabatta to come out good, the sourdough to come out. I mean, when you hold that sourdough and you go and you hear that nice thump thump in it,
Right.
Beautiful sound.
Learning to work with higher hydration doughs also is fun and challenging. Like some of the breads, Jeff, I think that ciabatta we did was what, a 75%.
I thought we could went up to 80 on that
Did
one.
we go to 80? We may have. Working with the wet doughs takes a little practice as well, and that really turns off somebody who's just starting out. The best thing to start out with is a simple French loaf that's at 60 to 62%, because the dough's not wet and sticky, and it's easy to shape, and it's really hard to mess it up. So maybe in the new year I'll do one bread project a month, and I'll start with something simple and post about it and say, here's a French loaf, French bread, or the basic baguette. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be.
I want to take a pork loin or a section of pork loin, and I want to flay that thing up and roll it up into something. We're rolling into something.
Okay, I think Jeff's lagging on us a little bit here tonight. His video's frozen on me. Tanya, is he frozen for you?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Am I back
What
now?
else?
Yep.
I don't see you, but I see an empty chair.
Yeah.
No, I'm back sitting in that empty chair.
There, I got you
Oh,
now.
now you're back. But now you're frozen again.
It's just a little laggy.
Well, like I say, I'm up here in the mountains. I got a whole 3.5 meg download and a 0.21 upload.
Right. So,
I'm using the Wi-Fi from the cabin because capturing.
Brian likes the sandwich bread recipe.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that sandwich bread, I love it, and that's a fun one to make. It's fairly easy, and that's a loaf that comes together in a couple hours time from start to finish. Probably about 3 hours, 3.5 hours maybe. So
Pierogies.
Tanya makes pierogies. Tanya made pierogies for me one day when I was home brewing beer outside, and I had some people coming over. Tanya made some of those, and they were delicious. I've never made it, but a pierogi's like a pseudo dumpling of some sort. It's beef. Yeah.
No, I made runzas for you.
Oh, was it Runzas? Okay.
Yes. But I also do make pierogies because it's,
Right.
in that lovely pasta shell with mashed potatoes, onions.
Well,
cheese,
pasta's something else I want to play with some in the new year. I was getting ready to get started in that a while back, and I got sidetracked. I bought some of the tools I need to cut ravioli and make ravioli from homemade pasta, and I've just never gotten around to actually doing it. I like making homemade pasta, and I have all the tools to do it. David, Happy New Year to you too. So
Am I back? I lost everybody.
I think
Yeah,
you're here.
you're back.
So what else would you guys? What would you like to see done? What can we do that would be entertaining in some way? I'm going to
I
be
think
continuing to play with the
I'm going to
griddle.
throw out the challenge. Tofu.
Tofu. Okay.
topic.
I realize that I'm the only one that probably wants that, but
No, you're
you know,
probably not.
Probably not.
or I'm the only one willing to admit that. How's
Well, tofu is something I'd rather cook on the griddle than on the grill. So now that we have that, um, let me play with that idea a bit.
I wonder how some smoked tofu would be.
I don't know.
Well, let me tell you, one of my first meals up at Blue Ridge, they were having this big, they treat everybody to a meal usually at the start of the semester, and they were having barbecue stuff, and I was like, oh man, it's going to be barbecue chicken. Of course it was, but they had barbecued smoked tofu, and it was really good.
Okay.
Really good. Matter of fact, it was so good that I thought to myself, hot diggity dog. It's the first time ever that I have asked for, a vegetarian meal. And I got something that wasn't a salad, and it was delicious.
Cool.
Bring the comment back about the scallops.
Smoked scallops, what David said.
Jeff, have you ever had smoked scallops?
I've never smoked them. Nope.
I don't know what the
butter.
I don't know what the process is on that. I would need to find out what people are doing, because I have cooked a lot of scallops, but
I think that's where our carbon steel pans with the holes in it, that half moon with the hole in it, I think that would do that job.
The thing about scallops cook quickly. There's no, I don't think you could, and for me, and this is probably just my bias, I've got to have at least one side of that scallop with a nice caramelized sear on it.
Well, here's what I would do, John. I would throw them in the bark at 200 degrees actually, we can take that bark down to 180. Take it down to 180 and let it sit in there for maybe 15 minutes, and then finish them on. You'll get the nice big scallops, and then finish them seared on the soapstone.
Is it going to pick up a noticeable amount of smoke in that amount of time?
I don't know, but I'm afraid if you do it more than 15 minutes, you're actually going to have
it'll be cooked.
By the time you sear it, you're going to be overcooked. And you're going to be
a scallop's just like shrimp or lobster. It goes from perfect to rubber and no time flat. And there's nothing worse than an overcooked scallop that you have to chew on. I'll figure it out. David, if you've got an example of that, let me know link me to it.
Yeah, that's what I just said. He does 180 on both sides, and then he does the sear.
Okay.
And then Anthony said, what if you cold smoke them? My only thing about weather's going to have to be cool, because scallops is one of those things. It's got that temperature area that you want to get out of real quick.
Cold smoking something. That's a thought. Jeff, you could put those things on a rack over some ice and keep them cool. I don't know.
That's what I was doing my cheese in that smoker I built. Put the big ice can right up underneath it. And put the cheese.
Let me see if let me add that to my list here. Now it's something I'll research. Smoked scallops. It's not something I've ever had.
Yeah, you definitely could use the base scallops on it.
What did Honorog say? I missed his last comment.
Smoked oysters.
Smoked oysters. I want to do Oysters Rockefeller because I've never done video on that or a thing on that. And once again, I have these fake ceramic oyster shells that I want to use. They're reusable.
There you go.
I bought those things at this point. It's 8 or 9 years ago that I bought them, and I've not used them yet.
Well, I think it's about time, John.
Well, yeah. So,
Now he's saying he meant to write mussels.
who meant to write mussels?
Analog.
Oh, smoked mussels.
Yes. Now I have smoked mussels before. That's good.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, I've got a list of stuff that, but I want to, like I said, pork loin. I think I want to spend a lot of time on pork loin in the coming year and see what I can come up with. That I think I've got a lot of different tools at my disposal for cooking now, so I would like to incorporate pork loin into fried rice, along with some other things that I'm doing on the griddle and maybe even in the wok. There's a lot of Asian dishes that use pork, and I could do a lot of some of the spicy stuff like the Indian. I could get Anurag to connect me with some really obscure Indian way to cook. See, there's an example, right? I didn't even have to ask. There it is. Try an English pie with hot water pastry. See, I don't even know what that is. Every time Anurag selects something, I have to get Google out. I have to Google it to figure out what it is. So let me write that down. English what? Bring that comment back, Tanya.
He says it's an English pie with hot water pastry, but he's clarified it as a Milton Mowbray pie. I'm wondering if that's the same thing or if that's an additional pie.
I don't know. I'll figure it out, but I'll have to Google it.
Yeah, and we ran into this dude at the grocery store. John don't know his name. They were like, buddy! And he was picking up stuff to do Chex Mix.
Somebody I know?
Yeah, the dude that bought your grill or something. Yeah, we ran into him at Food Line. And you were telling me, oh, this is the dude that
was that's the guy that bought my we traded. I traded my Kettle Joe for that Weber Smoky Mountain. I don't know. I maybe could try to come up with something else to do on my Joe Tissery's in horrible condition. Before I can even use my Joe Tissery again, I'm gonna have to replace it. I think I don't think mine's operational. I know my Joe Tissery motor on the original Joe Tissery motor is non-functional. I've got a third-party motor that I can use, but the flange that it mounts to is broken, and I don't know if it's something I can fix or not. So I may be out of service on the Joe Tissery. Pork loin stuff, Tide and rotisserie. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I can get back into the rotisserie business. Jeff, that flange that the motor mounts on is broken on mine. I've got the piece, but I don't think there's any way to fasten it back because it's aluminum.
Yeah.
I don't think it's salvageable. That's the second time I've had that happen. So,
did you drop it or it just
no? It just broke off when I was putting the motor on.
Huh.
I've got a third-party motor, but the flange that the Jotisserie motor slides onto is thicker than everybody else's mount. You've got to have the to make it fit properly, you've got to have the Jotisserie motor, and it's a really cheap quality motor with plastic gears in it. And the first time you put a 15-pound turkey on it that's not balanced correctly, it'll strip the gears out of that motor, which is what I've done with mine. And I bought a really good quality motor, but the little leaves that slip down over that flange, I've had to bend them out to get them to where I can slide them down over the flange for that Jotisserie, and it fits, but it's ugly. Yep. Happy New Year to you too, Anthony. Yeah, Jeff upgraded his knife game today. You're gonna love that Kramer. That's
I like it when I first saw it. Like I said,
I love mine. Yeah.
Tunes, and the price on it today was you couldn't beat it. 40%
Exactly.
off.
Yep. You got yours for $90 cheaper than I got mine. So, all right, I guess we'll wrap things up. We'll be back next week, and I don't know what I'm going to cook between now and then, but I'll find something. Since we're not going to do a heads up, I'll come up with something interesting one way or the other. So, Hank, Happy New Year's to you, and we'll shut down. So, guys, I appreciate it, and we'll see y'all next week.
Yep.
Happy New Year.